Disclaimer time, none of the pictures here belong to me. Touhou belongs to Zoo. Any pictures or videos used here all belong to their respective owner. Just in case someone says that I own these, I do not. I definitely do not have the skills nor the patience to make them. So there you go, just to be on the safe side. Without further ado, let's begin!
From fairy preferences to the Phantasmagoria incident and even magicians. Hello, Magi, and today we're back with another episode of Interesting Touhou Facts, the series which I discuss facts about Touhou that I find either fun, unusual, or simply interesting. So without further ado, let's begin the Interesting Touhou Facts number 7.
Number 5.
We all know what fairies are, right? They're those little bastards we shoot in the game in order to get some power and point blocks. Aside from being target dummies, they actually got a lot of interesting facts about them. I'm just gonna talk about one fact, as the fairies would definitely need a separate video for themselves. While fairies don't need to eat, they saw how humans enjoyed the food, so they copied them, eating the same thing we do. I also learned that Luna is a little different from most fairies. Now she likes coffee, which in itself isn't exactly a bad thing, but it's what Q says in Perfect Memento that intrigued me the most. Q mentions that fairies who love coffee are rare. The preferences of fairy are often the same as that of human children. So this info taught me a little more about fairies and what they like to eat. Couldn't hurt to learn this. You never know when you want to bribe a fairy or whatnot.
Number 4.
Let's talk about our favorite half-human, half-phantom person, Yomu. Going back into Perfect Memento, Q has an article about her. While reading through it, something struck as odd. Now in the Touhou universe, it's been stated that ghosts are extremely cold and that some of the girls actually try to catch ghosts to cool them off in the summer. That's nothing new, but the information about Yomu was definitely something else. Since Yomu has two halves, a human and phantom part, I was expecting her human part to be warm while her ghost part to be cold. It makes sense, but apparently that's not how it goes. According to Q, Yomu's body is colder than most humans, while her ghost half is warmer than most ghosts. So that right there is not what I expected. It's as if the rules of their body temperature switched or something. Oh well, there's been crazier shit, that's for sure.
Number 3.
When playing any of the games, you're bound to get some interesting conversation. This next bit is concerning Mei and Yarormyr. Now if I understand this correctly, no matter who wins or loses in Touhou Hiso Tensoku, between the two, you're bound to get a dialogue something like this. In a scenario where Yarormyr wins against Mei, Yarormyr will say, "How was the manga? Was it interesting?" And in the case Mei wins, she'll say, "Ah, the manga was interesting." So the Tenku don't only make newspaper, but these kind of books as well. Well, I got scolded a bit after I borrowed the manga though. From the dialogue between Mei and Yarormyr, it shows that the two of them read manga and they have similar tastes. Another key thing to note is that apparently Tengu can also make manga as well. Now if they started making anime, that would be pretty legit.
Number 2.
While we all like to joke about the strongest, we can't forget that Karino does have her moments. So, in Interesting Touhou Facts number 4, I discussed about Phantasmagoria and its link to World War II. Now, during the incidents, many of the girls didn't know why the flowers were blooming so much. The only people who really knew what was going on was Yuka, which I bloody hope she would, considering she's called the Flower Master for the 4 seasons! The other person was Karino. In fact, not only did she knew, she recalled a similar incident to this 60 years ago. Which again, ties back to what I discussed in my last video. Like I said, while majority of the time she's an idiot, she does shine when the occasion happens anyway.
Number 1.
Let's talk about magicians for a bit. Now we know the standard 3 magicians plus Byakuran, since we can't forget Yokai Jesus here. While they're all called magicians, there are different classifications to them. In the Touhou universe, magician is both a profession and species of yokai. Patrulli was naturally born a magician yokai. Alice and Byakuren were originally human, but were later considered a magician yokai once they learned to halt their own aging process through magic, or simply called abandoned temper magic. And Marissa is just a human who uses magic. That's it. Another thing to note is that magician as a profession is very similar to scientists and researchers in the real world, to the point where Patchouli refers to science and magic as the same thing. Now you may be thinking, what the fuck? How does magic and science even relate? That's what I asked until I read further. Mastery of both requires extensive knowledge and research into the true law of the world, and magicians gather data and build upon the research of others, just like all scientific researchers do. Magic is not something that just happens randomly, any more than gravity or electricity. Essentially, while magic may seem crazy and anything can happen, there are laws regulating on how they can actually work. So you can't exactly bullshit around with magic as some may think. Well, upon learning the similarities between science and magic, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Which fact intrigued you the most? Did Youmu's human and half phantom heat temperature surprise you? Did Mei Ling and Romelia's interaction about manga make you want to read some? Or did the magicians and Touhou impress you in terms of how much they research for their magic? Either way, this is Magi and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.